On this episode, we hit the end of the Trans-Canada Highway, and it's all just eye candy in Tofino. Good morning. We made it to Tofino. There's Buddy. Oh, there he is. We made it to Tofino and we're exploring all of the beaches. We just arrived yesterday, but can you believe how beautiful this is? It's early in the morning, so nobody else out. There is a sign saying to watch for wolves. Got my bear spray. And we are just enjoying this stunning morning in Tofino, which is very, very quiet. We went into town and everything at this time of day is pretty much closed up, but also it's winter, so it's very slow here. But we're just enjoying the great outdoors, and it's not raining for the first time in a bit. Are you going to be the mountain climber in this family now? I think you are. There's the sign that talks about all the whales that go by here. And there's the rock hopper. That's salt water. Don't drink that. Buddy, come. Buddy, come. This is the far end of Vancouver Island on the Pacific side. This beach is actually halfway between Ucluelet and Tofino. But this episode is about Tofino, which is famous for surfing, storm watching, and wild natural scenery. It is within the Clayoquot Sound UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, and it's on traditional First Nation territory. The town itself, which you're about to see, has transitioned from resource-based economy, such as fishing, to tourism. Sometimes too many tourists, but we're in off-season. I believe it holds the top ranking for best surfing. I just saw some surfers back there at one of the parks. The joy of, it's almost December when I'm recording this. It's actually American Thanksgiving. The joy of this time of year is if you're okay with rain, there's almost nobody here. The problem facing Tofino is in the spring, summer, and fall, it is highly, highly populated by van lifers. And this is one of those situations where van life has imposed on a community, and some people, leaving garbage behind or illegally parking or whatever have probably ruined it for everybody else, because Tofino has become very, very strict about street camping, stealth parking. So we're at Surf Grove campground, all completely legit and above board. But the difference of doing it at this time of year is that I think I'm paying $43 a night for 5 nights each, plus a $20 pet fee for my big, huge canine. In the summer, I have heard of campsites that are not at Surf Grove, but at other campsites that are up near $200 a night, and sometimes don't have services, meaning water and electrical. So being in off season, it's lovely for us because it's affordable but of the 5 days we plan to be in this entire Pacific Rim playground, there's about 3 days of rain. Now, we are fully prepared for rain, but it's not great for walking around. We also don't shop, and Tofino has amazing shopping, cute downtown. It was very quiet this morning when we went through, but lots of shops, very pedestrian friendly. But again, it gets kind of overrun in the summer, and the residents are not too happy with van lifers and RVers, and it's expensive to stay here. So what I'm going to do is, once we're done sort of exploring Tofino, and I have some work to do here in terms of editing and a podcast and a very important phone call that I make every Sunday to my aunt in Ohio, we're going to go to Ucluelet. I never pronounced that right. Ucluelet, which is supposed to be sort of the, if Tofino is not your jam because it's really crowded and expensive, that is the up-and-coming community to welcome van lifers and surfers. I think it's getting really popular as well. Getting here that was quite the highway. I haven't experienced anything like that since I drove over the Alps between France and Switzerland in an RV. And when I crossed the Rockies, I think I told you all it was like riding a roller coaster. There was nothing compared to this. And yes, I have good tires, what they call mud and snow. I'm therefore not afraid to cross mountain paths. I wouldn't do it in a snowstorm. There are parts of my hometown of Ottawa that I don't want to do in a snowstorm. This morning we went to Long Beach, which is amazing. Then we went to see another beach, which was just more for the view. And we're going back into town after checking it out at 8 o'clock this morning to have lunch at Tofino, which is famous, to see the Wickenish Inn, also famous, very expensive. I think I looked it up here in off-season, not even into Christmas excitement, and I think it was $580 a night, as opposed to my $43 a night. And I have to say, I can't say enough about Surf Grove. The bathrooms are amazing, showers are amazing, laundry super clean, highly organized. I did not get a site right on the ocean, as I'm pretty familiar. There's a sign there saying you can walk through the rainforest. We might do that another day, but we've only been here less than 24 hours. Bear spray, knives, wolves, bears. I forget what I was saying. Oh, Wickenish Inn. So it's gorgeous. I know a lot of people actually who have honeymooned there, and there is whale watching just off the beach. Lots of places that you can rent or go on a tour. They're talking about humpback whales and blue whales. That would be very exciting, but I can't take Buddy on a whale watching tour, although we leave for Mexico, Baja in 3 weeks, and I do hope to make a van life friend that might be willing to just keep Buddy for a couple hours while I go and do that. So I'm going to have to be friendly instead of really isolated, which is kind of what I do. There's sun out. We're going into Tofino right now. There is sun out, and I'm going to go hopefully take a couple pictures of the Wickenish Inn to show you why it is so amazing. We did go to the sign where it is the end of the Trans-Canada Highway on the western side. It ends in Newfoundland on the other side, but I have driven to Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, which is the end of mainland. So I think I've covered it all. As we continue our tour of Vancouver Island, before we start preparing and making plans for our December 21st departure for Baja, Mexico, like Cabos, Todos Santos, to explore La Paz, to explore van life in Mexico. And I don't have a return date yet. It might be up to 2 months because I do have a timeline that is necessary to follow to get back into Ontario for my summers in my home province with all the mosquitoes. That's what we're doing today. It's not bad for you. That's what a flight attendant said to me once upon a time when we were upgraded. My daughter and I were upgraded to business class from Rome to Montreal. And I was confused about that and said, well, that's not what I booked. And she said, it's not so bad for you. It wasn't so bad for us. It was quite lovely. Okay, I'll talk to you later. I didn't have my camera on. I'm leaving the property right now with the Wickenish Inn. It's kind of hard to see from all of this rainforest. It's better to see from the ocean. And I wasn't recording when a bald eagle swooped down right in front of my windshield. Like all feathers out, and like it was so amazing. But of course I'm pretty careful about when I turn on my camera and when I don't, and I certainly didn't want to hit a bald eagle. And the other nice thing was going back and forth on this highway. I passed this same construction site where the road is down to one lane, and the young man there has been, every time I've seen him holding the stop sign or the slow sign, he's rubbing his hands and he's cold. And I learned about hand warmers a long time ago. Actually, I can show you the kind I use, which are, I'm just in a parking lot, but like these kind. And so I stopped and I gave him a pair and I said, that's so that your hands can stay warm. And he had a big smile and thanked me. And I thought, man, standing out there for 8 hours in rain and it's now 8 degrees Celsius has to be miserable. So I was glad to bring a little light into his day. The other thing that I did want to mention about this area is that it is a tsunami risk area. So all along this road between kind of the turnoff when you come from Port Alberni and you go right for Tofino, left for Ucluelet, are evacuation signs so that you know where to go in the event that there is a tsunami warning, which is away from the ocean. Inland, so they're always watching that risk. And it wasn't that long ago that they had a I can't even say it, tsunami warning, and it's a very real threat. So there's that. Okay, let's talk about the fresh food. I had to go to this place, Tofino, because it was all over the internet for amazing places to get really good food, and it didn't disappoint. So it was about $16. In the summer, it would be beautiful to sit outdoors. And I'm not going to lie to you, I went twice. The first time, I got 2 different tacos, and then the second time, tried 2 others. And of course, fish, tuna, and then the last day, I did get some steak. Okay, so we've had the taste test back at the campground, and this is the fish taco, and this is the crispy chicken taco. And I'm a big fan of crispy chicken, but I gotta say this fish taco is amazing. Look at all the yummy stuff in there. Not yummy was the temperature. It even got frosty and slippery one day. But everywhere you look in Tofino, there are beautiful views. There's also a high respect for the First Nations or Indigenous people for whom this land is claimed. There are plaques, sculptures, and artwork. What used to be a very remote fishing village on the far coast of Canada has simply exploded into a tourist mecca. But there are still the reminders, the fishing boats that go out in the morning and bring back their catch for those of us to enjoy. I thought this was interesting, a relic from 1878, part of a vessel that crashed and limped its way to Victoria. Okay, so I'm back at Tofino. It is pouring rain and cold, and this is what brings me joy. So I ordered, contrary to the other day, I ordered the fish taco and the beef taco, and I'm sitting here waiting in the parking lot for my name to come up. It's pouring rain and cold. Tomorrow we leave and we go to Ucluelet, but this is our last day in Tofino, so I decided to indulge myself. So that ends our time in Tofino. And if you are a camper, an RVer, I highly recommend Surf Grove. It's where I originally was going to put my tiny camper for the winters before it was taken out in the accident. If you don't know about that, you can see previous episodes. But I was glad to finally see it and to see the beauty that this part of Canada has to offer. In the next episode, we go 30 minutes down the road to Ucluelet. See you then.